for Monday, February 21st, 2023. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Lundy,
Here.
Commissioner Durrett,
Here.
Commissioner Oster,
Here.
Commissioner Ward,
Here.
Commissioner Schoonmaker,
Here.
Commissioner Hill, Commissioner Lee,
Here.
Commissioner Beeler,
Here.
Commissioner Daly,
Here.
Commissioner Jay,
Here.
Commissioner Frazier.
Present.
All members are present.
I want to take this time to welcome back our junior commissioners. I also want to take time to recognize that Commissioner Hill and I have a little bit of a rivalry that'll be taking place today at 7:30 for the basketball district championship. So I will be updating you with scores. I feel like she is going to be a little sad at the end, but that's okay. We will see. I also want to take this time to address my colleagues. It is going to be hard to tell who wants to be recognized during this meeting, so if you would, please make sure your microphones are fairly far away, and if you want to speak, pull them close, maybe even wave, do something. It may not be in the proper order, but I will do the best I can to recognize you in the order in which you want to speak. At this time, I will look to Commissioner Frazier for tonight's devotional.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I wanted to use this time to share something with you all, especially our young commissioners, that I came across back in December. Every year I choose a word that I try to study and kind of anchor into my prayers, any efforts, my thought life, the way that I communicate or even present myself. And this year I chose the word understanding. And I selected this word because I felt like it would encourage me daily to seek knowledge, to pursue education, to want to learn more about people and about topics. And in searching to find a saying or quote or scripture that would remind me every day to better understand, I came across the writing of an author named Vanita H. Wright, who for the most part of her career, she was a literary editor, but found herself authoring several books later in life, like The Soul Tells a Story and Days of Deepening Friendship. So in this particular writing that I'm going to read to you, she's providing a hope or a prayer entering into a new year. So where she references a new year, I have replaced with a new day. I'd like to read it for you all and offer it to you as my prayer for you and over you. God of all time, help us enter each new day quietly, thoughtful of who we are to ourselves and to others, mindful that our steps make an impact and our words carry power. May we walk gently. May we speak only after we have listened well. Creator of all life, help us enter each new day reverently, aware that you have endowed every creature and every plant, every person and habitat with beauty and with purpose. May we regard the world with tenderness. May we honor rather than destroy. Lower of our souls, help us enter each new day joyfully, willing to laugh and dance and dream, remembering our many gifts with thanks and looking forward to blessings yet to come. May we welcome your lavish love. In this new day, may the grace and peace of Christ bless us now and in the days ahead. In understanding, in hope, and in love, amen.
Thank you, Commissioner Frazier. Commissioner Lundy will lead us in the pledge.
Okay, please note that we have an imaginary flag right there. So please stand. Oh, there it's going right there. I pledge allegiance
Suspect. That's the city.
Thank you, Commissioner Lundy. Moving to amendments to the agenda. We have the following additions are 33 and 34. Deferrals 44, 50, 53, and 56. Withdrawals 43, 45, 47, 49, 54, and 55. Non-consent items 35, 36, 40, 41, 46, 48, 51, 52. I'll repeat the non-consent items 35, 36, 40, 41, 46, 48, 51, 52. Any further amendments to the agenda? Commissioner Beeler?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to move that item 75, which is zoning item 1V23RZ, be postponed until the April zoning meeting. I have talked with the applicant as well as members of the community, and due to the recent uncovering of some plans that that refer to that area, the parties would like more time to digest those and discuss those.
Thank you. Any further amendments to the agenda?
Motion to set the agenda.
Thank you. Motion to set the agenda by Commissioner Beeler with a second by Commissioner Daly. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. The agenda is set. The chair will now entertain a motion to approve the education and general government consent calendars. Motion by Commissioner Daly with a second by Commissioner Oster. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Madam Clerk, next item.
Resolution R-23-2-101 is recognizing and honoring Black History Month.
Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Lundy with a second by Commissioner Ward to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Commissioner Lundy.
Thank you so much. I want to say thank you to the commission. Am I echoing? Anyway, thank you to the commission for supporting this resolution. I'm going to go ahead and read, and then I'm going to have my junior commissioner read the end of it. Whereas the birthdays of President Abraham Lincoln and abolitionist Frederick Douglass inspired the creation of Negro History Week, the precursor to Black History Month, and whereas the month of February is officially celebrated as Black History Month, which dates to 1926, when Carter G. Woodson set aside a special period of time in February to recognize the heritage and achievement of Black Americans. And whereas since the inception of the Association for Study of African American Life and History, the founder, Carter G. Woodson, stressed the importance of providing a theme each year to Black History Month to focus the attention of the public. And whereas the 2023 theme for Black History Month is Black Resistance. And whereas African Americans have resisted historic and ongoing oppression in all forms, whereas these efforts have been to advocate for a dignified, self-determined life in just a democratic society in the United States and beyond the United States political jurisdiction. And whereas the 1950s through 1970s in the United States were defined by actions such as sit-ins, boycotts, walkouts, strikes by Black people and white allies in the fight for justice against discrimination in all sectors of society, from employment to education to housing. And whereas Black people have had consistently pushed the United States to live up to its ideas of freedom, liberty, and justice for all. And whereas in 2023, we continue to resist in order to create equity in every facet of existence as societal and political forces escalate to limit access to and exercise of the ballot, eliminate the teaching of Black history, and deny basic human rights. And whereas, therefore, we must continue to build capacity to mobilize and strive for freedom, justice, and equity. And whereas it is a call to everyone to study the history of Black American responses to establish safe spaces where Black life can be sustained, fortified, and respected.
Now therefore be it resolved by the Commission of Knox County as follows. The Knox County Commission hereby recognizes and honors the month of February as Black History Month in Knox County and encourages all citizens to celebrate the past and current achievements and contributions African Americans have made to our nation. Be it further resolved that the Knox County Commission expresses its desire to continue to be a legislative body that is intentional in its support of policies that create diversity, equity, and inclusion. Be it further resolved that this resolution is to take effect from and after its passage, as provided by the Charter of Knox County, Tennessee, the public welfare requiring it.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, next item, please.
It's R-23-2-102, honoring Samantha Monday for the outstanding work she does for drug treatment and mental health in Knox County.
Is there a motion? You can do it.
Second. Motion to approve, I'm sorry. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Lee to approve with a second by Commissioner Frazier. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Commissioner Lee, the floor is yours.
Commissioners, before I read this resolution, I tell you, I work with this lady almost on a daily basis. And she is on the front lines of drug treatment and mental health in Knox County. This lady does miracles every day. She works at the jail, and she works on behalf of the people who need drug treatment. And so she helps find them a bed or whatever kind of treatment they have. But this lady is such a great asset. I just cannot give her enough praise. She's been doing this since 2017. She has worked with 1,182 people. She has basically gets about 25 referrals a month for drug treatment or mental health. And she gets about 22 of them a bed a month. Our rate of recidivism is 61%. That's how many people come back. But the national rate is 80 to 85. So she's doing something good. She's doing something right. But I work with her, and her and Lakin Conley are just our right hand. I mean, when we have someone with drug treatment or mental health, which we're starting the mental health court, it's like Samantha Monday. Let's get a Samantha Monday. So this lady cannot be praised enough. She's a great asset to Knox County, and I couldn't be more proud of her. Whereas Samantha Monday is a case manager and supervisory civilian employee of the Knox County Sheriff's Office. And whereas Samantha Monday works with detainees at the Roger D. Wilson Detention Center and with various courts and judges in Knox County to rehabilitate detainees and get them a fresh start in life. And whereas Knox County, like much of America, suffers from the effects of drug abuse, mental health treatment issues, sex trafficking, and domestic violence. Whereas for 9 years, Samantha Monday has been making a difference in the lives of detainees, serving as a caseworker for anywhere from 240 to 500 inmates a year. Whereas she is a native of Karnes, Samantha Monday is a graduate of the University of Tennessee with a BA in psychology and a licensed and certified alcohol and drug abuse counselor. Whereas the work done by Samantha Monday goes above and beyond the call of duty as a daily aid to some of our neediest and most vulnerable citizens of Knox County and is making a difference in their lives. Whereas it is the sense of the Knox County Commission that Samantha's Monday is deserving of recognition and honor. Now therefore, be it resolved by the Commission of Knox County as follows. The Commission of Knox County hereby recognizes and honors the service and dedication of Samantha Monday in assisting Knox County detainees with issues of drug dependency, mental health, and abuse. Be it further resolved that this resolution be presented to Samantha Monday. Be it further resolved that this resolution is to take effect from and after its passage as provided by the Charter of Knox County, the public welfare requiring it. And also, if I could add, she is also a black belt in martial arts, and I believe she's a ninja. So she is a force to be reckoned with. And if anyone has any questions of her about her drug treatment, anybody from the commission or junior commissioners?
No questions, just thank you.
Okay. If we could get a picture, please.
Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Presentation to give an update on ARPA funds by Liza Zenny of Knox County Arts and Culture Alliance.
Ms. Zenny, if you would please approach the podium and state your name and county residence. And
Thank
your
you. My name is Lisa Zenny. I live in Anderson County, and but you'd never know it because I spend all my days and nights in Knox County at the Emporium. Thank you all for your service. Thank you, for you young people, for your service now and in the future. Also, thank you, Carson, for helping me arrange this, and Drusilla for being so helpful too. I'm Lisa Zenny with the Arts and Culture Alliance. We hold the county's defined service contract on behalf of 24 nonprofit organizations comprising the Knox County Tourism Consortium. What that means is that my organization responds to the county's RFI. If awarded a contract, we do the reporting, we do the checking on the 24 organizations that are a part of that consortium. And so the county itself only has to deal with one organization and manage one instead of 24. And so we don't take any administration fees. We don't take any part of that contract money. We are the only United Arts Fund in Greater Knoxville, and that's part of our job. And we want to thank you for helping us do our job. It's important to remember that members of the consortium, some of whom were able to join us tonight, can you guys stand? These organizations, these people, represent Big Ears, Bijou Theater, the Knoxville Jazz Orchestra, the Knoxville Symphony, the Knoxville Museum of Art, James White's Fort, Ramsey House, Marble Springs, Historic Westwood, the Historic Tennessee Theater, the MLK Commemorative Commission, the Clarence Brown Theater, Dogwood Arts, Mabry Hazen House, the McClung Museum, WDVX, the Tennessee Stage Company, the Tennessee Valley Fair, the Knoxville Opera, Jubilee Community Arts, Ola Ora Latina, IAMS Nature Center, the East Tennessee Historical Society, and Blunt Mansion. In short, this defined services contract is not a grant. It's a contract for services. So the county hires these 24 organizations to operate as a magnet to bring people from outside Knox County into Knox County, to draw them here to spend a bunch of money that the county gets to keep after they go home. So how well did the consortium do their job during calendar year 2022? Just on the heels of the pandemic. I'm here to tell you. In 2022, the consortium attracted 486,000 visitors from all 50 states and nearly 70 countries, who brought with them $33,866,000, which those visitors kindly left behind at restaurants like the Tomato Head and Copper Cellar, hotels such as the Holiday Inn in Cedar Bluff, parking lots like Dwight Kessel, and shops like Bliss and even the Farragut Farm. The sales tax alone that Knox County collected from those visitors was $3,134,000. If you only count the sales tax, Knox County appreciated a $7.50 return on every $1 of investment in these organizations. In another happy consequence of the 4,000 events and activities the consortium produces to attract visitors is that Knox County families and children also benefit. Perhaps in the past week, you've received a letter or two from the thousands of Knox County residents who enjoy and appreciate their favorite consortium members. Did you get any letters, emails? Gina's chuckling. What this means is that a local museum installation that attracts and inspires visitors from out of town will also instruct and delight local school children. Likewise, a symphony performance enjoyed by public school children during the day will be performed for tourists at night. I can't think of a cleverer way for our county to use hotel motel tax funds to generate so much benefit for so many in our community. Now I'd like to turn the floor over to my friend, Deborah Porter, who can tell you what the county's contract with the consortium means to her organization. And after Deb, David Butler will have a couple of words to say too, and then I'll wrap it up.
Thank you, Lisa. Good afternoon, Commissioners. And I want to thank you for allowing me to speak to you briefly about the Dr. Martin Luther King Commemorative Commission and what it has meant to us to receive the funding from the Tourism Consortium. And it provides the events and activities that we produce during the year. We start in January and we really don't finish until June because we have now moved it through June 19th for the Juneteenth parade. So we have benefited from the support that we have gotten from the Tourism Consortium. And that really helps us provide the events and activities throughout not only January, March, April, and June now. So we want to say thank you so very much for your support. And I'm going to give the chair one of our
I'm David Butler. I'm Executive Director of the Knoxville Museum of Art. I'm very pleased to have this opportunity to stand here and look you in the eye and say thank you for supporting the Knox County Tourism Consortium, which provides vital financial support for my organization and for many other cultural attractions in Knox County. Consortium members collectively put lots of heads in beds, and in return receive funding to support the operations that attract those out-of-town visitors. Citizens of Knox County benefit from access to a wide range of quality cultural offerings paid for by visitors through Tourism Consortium funding. Sorry, I'm not speaking well today. That includes free admission to the KMA. It's a case where everybody wins. Thank you for supporting this exemplary program. Thanks.
So thank you to Mayor Jacobs, wherever he may be, and members of the County Commission. We appreciate your service to the community, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Are there any questions?
The agenda did say that there was that I would talk about the ARPA funding. I want you to know that we are now in the middle of the first fiscal year of ARPA funding, and we are administering $637,000 of county ARPA funding this year, and next year we will administer the other half. This first year, that $637,000 was awarded to 18 nonprofits in the following breakdown: $190,000 to organizations just serving children, $120,000 to organizations producing festivals, $223,000 is focused completely on putting people back to work and supporting wages. How many consortium members back there have been able to retain staff or hire new staff during the pandemic because of your help and support? $24,000 provided equipment for Knox makers to use to create work, and $80,000 was used to support diverse exhibits and performances. I'll have more data on this by the end of the year when I get those reports. And finally, for your enjoyment of reading, here's some information, a selection of an itinerary for visitors to our area for any season of the year. Oh, thank you. And in the back is more information on all the members of the consortium. Thank you all so much.
Ms. Zenny, I do want to make a personal note that I appreciate everything the Arts and Cultural Alliance does for Knox County and all of the consortium members. And that personal note goes along with the Knoxville Opera. My daughter has the opportunity to serve on, or to be a member of the Knoxville Opera Children's Choir this year. And so we're really looking forward to being able to perform at Rossini and all the things that go along with it. So just thank you to all of you that bring this culture to Knox County.
Thank you. That's wonderful.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
thank you. Would you send that report to us in the final year report? Make sure, don't send it to us, send it to Drew,
I will.
and she'll forward it on. Thank you.
You mean the ARPA report or
Well, the
this
total
one?
of the 637.
Oh, I'm
this-
happy to.
Who that breaks down to,
Yes,
and then any year-end report that you would have would be great. It'll help us out a lot.
I'll do it, Commissioner Daly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Presentation of Rural Metro Monthly Report by Jeff Bagwell.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, it's a different microphone, sorry. Jeff Bagwell, 160 North Campbell Station Road in Farragut. The monthly report for Rural Metro, January 2023, 794 medical first responder calls, 97 car crashes, 10 residential structure fires, 77 fire alarms, 19 hazardous conditions, 361 lift assist or invalid assist, 28 still assignments or car fires, brush fires, etc., and 6 this month mutual aid calls outside of Knox County, for a total of 1,392 with an average staffing of 2.6 firefighters, and we're still looking for that 0.6 guy. We haven't found him. We responded to properties valued at just over $645,950 and at a property loss of $221,547, which means we saved an average of 76% of the valued property, with an average response time of 6 minutes, and with 8%, only 8% of the reported fires being contained to the room of origin. In January, we had a tremendous number of house fires that, when called in to us, the structures were already well involved with fire. That puts the fire department, I don't care which fire department you're talking about, behind the 8 ball, and makes it very, very difficult for us to save a lot of that property. We transitioned to new software in January 1st of this year, so getting data is now a learning experience for me. This software has data gathering points that seem to be endless. However, there is a learning curve that I have to deal with. Station 30 in Halls continues to be the busiest in Knox County with 198 emergencies. Station 36 in Powell is now in second with 177. The North Battalion continues to be the busiest at 477, and the busiest hours this month were between 12 and 1. At the first of this month, we celebrated a birthday, our birthday, of 75 years of service. Now, while we've only been in Knox County since 1977, Lou Weitzman created our company in February of 1948 in a small rural community outside Scottsdale, Arizona. Lou was a young newspaper reporter. We don't see those much anymore. And experienced what few of us will ever experience, and that's watching a neighbor's house burn to the ground with no fire department response. He purchased a fire truck, petitioned some other men to join him in protecting the community, and asked his fellow community citizens to help pay for the endeavor by paying a yearly membership fee. Little did Lou know that he had just created an alternative funding source for rural communities that lacked municipal fire protection. Rural Metro Fire Department entered into an operating agreement with Chief Blankenship at West Knoxville Fire Department in 1977 at the request of Knox County leadership and then County Leader Dwight Kessel. We later did the same with East Knox County, Halls Powell, bringing organized, stable fire protection to Knox County. Mr. Kessel knew that Knox County would not grow without this valuable service. And not only was he right, but we've seen a tremendous amount of growth since 1977. You can read more about that in the albums that I gave you guys at the workshop. There's a whole 10 pages of it. Any questions?
Commissioner Frazier?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a quick question, Mr. Bagwell, do you all provide any mutual aid to any of our neighboring counties?
Yes, Anderson County. That's where the 6 came from. We went to Anderson County twice, Union County once, and Granger County 3 times, if I think that's right.
What type of services do you provide?
Fire protection.
Just fire protection?
Yeah. I mean, most of those were always sending water haulers for house fires, things like that.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Jay?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Bagwell, we just finished a beer board meeting where we talked about a particular establishment on in the Halls area, which you talk about being the highest call volume.
Really?
Yep. You can find that it's the El Tequila bar. And
Okay.
you can find the address on our beer board agenda.
Oh, yeah.
Between now and next month, would you look back through your data and see if you can determine how many and what types of calls you've gotten from that address or that immediate proximity?
Yeah.
For
Do you
the
remember the
last-
address?
Well, I'll get it to you, but
Okay.
it's maybe for the last 120 days. It's just you would be the responding agent, and separate from our sheriff's office, if you could help us better understand what
Sure.
what your impact it has made on your force. Thank you.
I can do that.
Any more questions? Thank you, Captain. Oh, Commissioner Daly?
7,002 Maynardville Pike.
7,002. All right. I'll get on that. Thank you.
Thank you. concludes our presentations, which brings us to public forum. Under our rules, those who have signed up to speak to a particular agenda item will speak at this time. We have one person, Keith Britt. If you would please approach the podium, state your name and county of residence for the record, and you will have 5 minutes.
Hi, Keith Britt, 506 Milton Drive. I'm going to start off with a few comments just about this commission real quickly. Sorry. I know you don't get this often, but I'd like to compliment this commission. What I saw at last week's work session was phenomenal. The attention to detail, the homework you put in, especially during the zoning meeting, was phenomenal. The trajectory this commission's on as from last year or 2 years ago is just really encouraging, so thank you for that. Second, junior commissioners, I don't know what I expected out of this program, but it wasn't what I saw last week. You guys aren't just here to learn. You guys are putting together a perspective and a voice that's badly needed on this commission, and I really appreciate everything you did last week. If you have imposter syndrome, don't, because you guys absolutely crushed it last week. And to that point, what you talked about mostly was the proposed age requirement for corrections officers from going from 19 to 18. And in theory, I support that idea. I enlisted in the Army at the age of 29. Some of the most high-performing soldiers I served next to were on the younger side, enlisting at 18. And that argument was made by the Sheriff's Department and by members of this commission. If they can serve our country, why can't they serve our county? Well, I did the math. When I joined the Army, I was given 4,690 hours of training before I was put in harm's way. The Sheriff's Department is proposing that 18-year-olds receive 366 hours of training. That's only 7% of the training I received. It's less than 25% of the training that KPD officers receive. But more to the points you were making, does KCSO set up a safe environment where 18-year-olds' mental and physical health is protected while they're serving in the prison? Based on statements that KCSO made to the Merit Systems Board or Merit Systems Board of Directors, I would think not. To quote Board Member Wright, excuse me, just for clarification, if they, the 18-year-olds, are working in there, would they be in a pod by themselves? Sheriff Spangler, quote, "Of course they will. Yes, sir. They will have that 6-week training just like everybody else is, and we've had some of our younger people do just as well as our matured people." Quote, Deputy Chief Purvis, "Right now we are at a great deficit inside corrections facilities. We are continually challenged in trying to perform the mission. We want to make the environment as safe as we can, and in order to do that, we need additional bodies." That implies that it's not a safe environment right now. And based on throwing a handful of 18-year-olds at the problem, when there's a 100 correctional officer shortage, it's not going to solve the problem. So you're shoving 18-year-olds into an unsafe prison situation. The underlying problem here is not that the Sheriff's Department can't hire 18-year-olds. The underlying problem here is that the Sheriff's Department is at a tipping point in a staffing shortage where they're about to run afoul of state and federal regulations. And 18-year-olds are not going to solve that problem. I've begged you to look at this before. I know it is not something that you can initiate, but the Sheriff's Department, the mayor, and this commission need to get together, and you need to raise salaries for KCSO employees by approximately 25% to stay competitive in this market. That is a big ask. That's a big lift. But I've identified $6 million at least that you could dedicate to that in the Sheriff's Department budget with no impact to how the community is served. This rule change is simply flailing. It's grasping at last-ditch efforts to not raise salaries, and I don't know why. I'd like you to ask some questions about why salaries are so stagnant at KCSO, because it makes no sense given what we've seen over the last 3 years. Thank you for your time, and Godspeed.
Thank you. That concludes public forum. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Approval of minutes of the previous meeting.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So, second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Hill with a second by Commissioner Frazier. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next item.
Drives and roads, consideration of the acceptance of new county roads. A, B, and C are in Goodison Park subdivision Phase 2, District 6. A is Snowfall Lane, B, Great Plains Lane, C, Denver Lane. D, E, F, G, and H are located in Everett Woods Phase 1, District 6. D is Cedar Break Drive. E, Bell Pond Avenue. F, Midland Pass Street. G, Happy Valley Street. H, Yellow Glen Boulevard. And I and J are in Emery Orchid, District 6. I is Emery Orchid Lane, and J is Honeycrisp Road.
Is there a motion?
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Daly with a second by Commissioner Jay. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Line item transfers, total amount of $950,687.52.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Jay with a second by Commissioner Schoonmaker. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next item.
Budget amendments, total amount of $431,664.35.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Jay with a second by Commissioner Schoonmaker. Any discussion? All those seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries.
212 notary applications.
Is there a motion to approve notary applications?
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Oster with a second by Commissioner Frazier. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Madam Clerk.
Spread of record, the employee handbook of the Knox County Register of Deeds Office. And we're on item number 46. Resolution R-23-2-401 is approving a civil design contract with Robert G. Campbell and Associates LP in the amount of $37,300 for the installation of a left turn lane on Campbell Station Road and Fretz Road.
Is there a motion for this item?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Beeler with a second by Commissioner Ward. Any discussion? Commissioner Schoonmaker?
Did you want to go first, or
I can. It doesn't
my
matter.
mic's kind of messed up here?
Commissioner
you.
Daly?
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Snowden, you're on the hot seat.
Yes, sir, Commissioner.
The developers are developing the property as we speak.
Correct.
And do you know how many has been developed, or I went out there, but I didn't drive down. It's quite a few. I know that.
Sure. Yeah. There was a total of 3 developments there. The first development, the one that's closest to the intersection as you're driving on Fretz or Hatmaker away from the town limits, is Windsor Forest, and it has 126 lots. The next one as you approach is Towering Oaks. It has 84 lots. And then the one at the very terminus of Hatmaker, Fretz, where Fretz, it got bisected by the interstate, Fretz and Hatmaker actually just changed names as you drive on the road. The last one is 155 lots. So I think the math on that's somewhere just shy of 400 lots.
And I asked you in the workshop, and I still don't understand why we're not giving them, we're giving them a certificate of occupancy without them having the road done. You know, until the road's done, they shouldn't be building houses, in my opinion. So I'm going to be voting no on this because I think it's wrong that the developers are getting out of paying at least half of this. And even maybe the town of Farragut should kick in some money because it's inside the town of Farragut. And I know we're going to solve the problem in the future, but that doesn't stop us having to pay $500,000 to $600,000 of taxpayers' money to fix a road that should have been at least cost sharing with Knox County. Do we really need a turn lane there? Is it a state requirement that we have to have a turn lane?
Yeah, the metrics or the warranting procedures that we use are nationally recognized standards that are actually codified in our access control policy. So if this turn lane were on Knox County Road, we would it would warrant that same condition. And the premise behind it is if you have so many following vehicles and stop vehicles, there's the higher potential of rear end crashes. So I would feel as if this turn lane isn't constructed, it would negatively impact the operation of Campbell Station Road.
I appreciate you, and I understand that. I really do, but I'm just so aggravated knowing what took place by these two developers, Mr. Scott Davis and Mr. Scott Smith. It just irritates me, and it'll probably irritate me till I won't get to sleep tonight, okay? So, thank you, Mr. Snow.
Commissioner Schoonmaker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Snowden, just for the record, the three subdivisions that you just listed, that's a total of 365 lots, okay? Those properties, because there's been some confusion, are actually located in Knox County. Those subdivisions are not within the town of Farragut. The only thing that's in the town of Farragut is actually Campbell Station Road, correct?
That is correct, sir.
Correct. And then kind of following Commissioner Daly's comment, for somebody doing 365 lots, again, they're not required to do any road improvements because of what they're doing. The amount of volume of traffic on that little two-lane road.
That is correct, but it's a condition that unfortunately we don't have the legal authority to enforce. But we're going to fix that, hopefully coming to this body next month.
Commissioner Frazier.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to clarify, I think Commissioner Schoonmaker said this, but Knox County allowed the 4-through rezonings of these properties, correct?
Yes, all three of these properties were rezoned in the last 10 years.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion on the floor is to approve by Commissioner Beeler with a second by Commissioner Ward. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries with a vote of 8 ayes and 3 noes. All right, Madam Clerk, next item, please. Thank you, Mr. Snowden.
Item 48, R-23-2-802 is requesting the Industrial Development Board of the County of Knox to waive certain provisions of the board's tax increment financing policies and procedures to obtain a third-party report to determine that tax increment financing is necessary and to prepare an economic impact plan for a project to be known as Prosperity Crossing to be located at 13115 El Camino Lane, 0 El Camino Lane, 0 Everett Road, and 0 Buttermilk Road, Knoxville, Tennessee, 37932.
Is there a motion on this item?
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Oster with a second by Commissioner Schoonmaker. Any discussion? Mac, would you like to say something?
Yes, I'm Matt McWhorter with the Knoxville Chamber here on behalf of the Industrial Development Board of Knox County. Just to help facilitate the application, and to request the commission's approval for the applicant to hire a third-party analysis, also called a but-for analysis. Mr. Steve Maddox is the developer, and he's here tonight to answer any questions or tell you a little bit about his project if you wish. With that, I'll turn it over to him if you have any questions.
Are there any questions for Mac or Mr. Maddox? Commissioner Hill?
This isn't a question, but Mr. Maddox, thank you. Thank you. I know this has been a dream of yours personally, but also to be of such benefit to Knox County. I'm very excited to see this move forward.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill.
Commissioner Frazier?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I just wanted to explain possibly to the public who is watching or those sitting at work session, we had some really great discussion about this project. And that's why you're not seeing a lot of questions being asked from commission. But again, I reiterate, I'm really excited about this. I'm excited about the potential and the opportunity that it presents. And for all of those along the way who have supported this project, thank you, and thank you for your vision.
Thank you, Commissioner.
And for our junior commissioners, this is the one about the sports complex that we discussed last week. Okay, the motion on the floor is to approve by Commissioner Oster with a second by Commissioner Schoonmaker. Any more discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Oh, yep, my apologies. We do need to do a roll call.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Commissioner Lundy votes aye. Commissioner Durrett.
Aye.
Commissioner Durrett votes aye. Commissioner Oster.
Aye.
Commissioner Oster votes aye. Commissioner Ward.
Aye.
Commissioner Ward votes aye. Commissioner Schoonmaker.
Aye.
Commissioner Schoonmaker votes aye. Commissioner Hill. Commissioner Hill votes aye. Commissioner Lee.
Aye.
Commissioner Lee votes aye. Commissioner Bigler.
Aye.
Commissioner Bigler votes aye. Commissioner Daly.
Aye.
Commissioner Daly votes aye. Commissioner J.
Aye.
Commissioner J votes aye. Commissioner Fraser. Commissioner Fraser votes aye.
11-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner. Appreciate it.
Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Item number 52, Resolution R-23-2-905 is approving an amendment to the Knox County Sheriff's Office Employees Merit System Rules and Regulations to provide for a change to the minimum age requirement for correction officers from 19 to 18 years of age.
Is there a motion?
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Daly with a second by Commissioner Lee. Any discussion? Commissioner Frazier?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to share with my colleagues, after the work session, I reached out to Paula Taylor with the Merit Office, Amanda Kitts with the Sheriff's Office, Chief Purvis and Sheriff Spangler. Thank them for the great information that they provided to us and just did some follow-up questions, and I just wanted to share that with you all. Some of the questions that I asked were just to add to the discussion. I'm not saying I'm for or against. This is just to add to discussion. The age requirement was lowered from 21 to 19 in September 2021. I asked how many applicants aged 21 and over since September 21. There have been 166 applications aged 19 and older. 98 of the 166 took the psych eval. 8 of those 98 failed. Since lowering the minimum age, how many 19 and 20-year-old applicants have been received? Did we see an increase in the applications? And if so, or if not, what were contributing factors? Since September 2021, there have been 26 total applicants that were 19 or 20 years of age. That's not a large increase since reducing the minimum age requirement. How many of those applicants passed the background and psych eval? 19 have taken the psychological as of the present date. 12 of the 19 have passed. The other 7 have failed the psych exam. Those exams cost approximately $245. How many of those 19 and 20-year-olds are still employed? 6 are still employed. Let me see. I'm just, again, sharing. Dr. Adlin, who is with Helen Ross McNabb and actually conducts the psych evals, he got back to me. I asked for the number of evaluations performed in the years 21, 22, and 23. In 21, he did 183 evals. In 2022, 346. In 2023, he did 20. and how many of those evals were for applicants 19 and 20 years of age. He does not have access to those numbers, nor does he have access to how many failed. And I asked him in his professional medical opinion, what is the age appropriateness of applicants for this type of work? He said the relative immaturity of teenagers and lack of experience working in structured environments, especially safety-sensitive ones, is a concern. However, he's unaware of whether some teenagers can benefit from training to be competent corrections officers. I asked about his terms of employment with KCO and Helen Ross McNabb. He has an annual contract with them to perform MMPIs. This is for a specific service for Knox County Sheriff's Office. He came on at McNabb in 2007. He has a PhD in clinical psychology, and he's been licensed in Tennessee since '99. Most of his career, he has conducted pre-employment and fitness duty psychological evals for law enforcement, security, healthcare professionals, and private industry, as well as court-related evaluations. So he is very experienced. I asked him what type of evaluations are used. He said that they use a standard psychological evaluation that utilizes at minimum an hour of a semi-structured interview and a standard psychological test, the Minnesota Multiphasic Personality Inventory Type 2. Collateral contacts with the sheriff's staff or past treatment providers are sought when indicated, as well as additional interviewing and a mental status exam. Ms. Kitts and Chief Purvis responded to some of my questions. Merritt had already answered some of those. Dr. Adlin had already answered some of those. They did provide me with I asked just about the cost of the background checks and psych evals. A psychological is only given to candidates that are chosen to move through the hiring process, but background checks are done in-house. I asked, what is the cost to train new officers? They said approximately about $6,500, and this does not include all testing, background investigations, HR costs, uniforms, and equipment. This number does not include the cost of vacancy rate. How did recruiting efforts change after the age was lowered? The sheriff's office began attending job fairs within local high schools. I asked if there's a recruiting plan in place, ready to go to engage 18-year-olds. They said yes. There wasn't any description of what that might be. Will training efforts and performance metrics be reviewed to accommodate lowering the age? And they said that it is already in place. Who performs the psych evals and how can they provide a statement? They told me to contact Dr. Adlin, which I did. Have there been any officer-related incidents in corrections over the past year? And the answer was yes. There was no further clarification on that. I asked how many unfulfilled positions there are presently. They currently have 93 vacant correction positions. And then I just asked about any cadet programs or Explorer programs. They have had an Explorer program in the past that provided training and exposure to law enforcement at younger ages. They currently have 18-year-old employees working in the commissary and as property officers. So that's the intake and release center. And then they gave me a great description of their hiring process. So those are just some things that I reached out and asked for in the past week, and I just wanted to share those responses with you all.
Thank you. Commissioner Jay?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Chief Purvis, would you join us at the podium? I just wanted to give you an opportunity to not necessarily address every point, but just sort of reiterate, you run the jail, you run corrections, and why it is that, a recap of why it is that this is important for you as the department head.
Yeah, we're continually trying to recruit individuals that come work in the corrections division, and as has already been pointed out, we're at 93 vacancies. Within the scope of what we can do, we've exhausted everything that we can do to try to get individuals in. We're continually recruiting, and one group that we haven't been able to reach out to are the ones that are just leaving high school, the 18-year-olds. As has already been spoken by the gentleman that spoke earlier, would we be reaching out to 18-year-olds if we weren't in a crisis in corrections? Maybe not. Because there is a crisis. We've got 93 vacancies. We've had a mean average of around 73 vacancies throughout this year. And the sheriff has done everything he can to include bonuses and longevity raises, and within the scope of his budget, he's done everything that's possible to try to reach out to folks right now. And so this is an effort to try to recruit more individuals that are just entering into the job market. I know that it's been spoken, there are a lot of concern about the training hours, and I want to say that the Tennessee Corrections Institute requires basically 7 days of training, and 2 of those days are online. We have 6 weeks of training in the classroom, and then we have an additional on-the-job training program. And if at any point in time, if someone does have issues and it's identified by the individual or by the supervisor, we will continue to train that individual until they are comfortable entering into that job skill, whatever it may be. There is not 6 weeks, and if you make it, you make it. If you don't, then you don't. If we get to the end of the 6-week process and the trainers see that they're inadequately trained in a particular area, their job skill, whatever it may be, is not up to the standard, we can continue that training process up until that point that the individual is able to comfortably do the job. Same thing with the on-the-job training process. If they're out there and they're not comfortable, or the CTO is not comfortable with the individual's performance, we're not going to release that person into the job until everybody involved, including the individual that's doing the job, the person that's evaluating them, and the supervisor, are all going to have to be on board before that person is released. And I know that they are larger agencies. Commissioner Oyster talked about the big 3 out there, and I would like to say that, you know, those agencies all pay a significant amount more than we do. Some of them as much as $53,000. So we're just trying to reach out in any way that we possibly can to get adequate personnel in to perform the job that we're asked to do.
Thank you for that recap. I'm going to be supporting this resolution. I think we should give our sheriff's office every tool possible. Tell me an area of this community that doesn't have staffing shortages. Find me one. It is a really tough time. It's a really tough market. We have an opportunity to engage people into law enforcement and not lose them to partner agencies. I think that we ought to support this, and I do believe if you can serve our country, you can serve our county. I hope you will as well. Thank you.
Commissioner Schoonmaker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to be supporting this for maybe a little bit different reason, and that is that if you don't try something, you'll never know if it works. So I'm willing to give them the opportunity to try this, but if a year from now or a year and a half from now that this is not the way to go, I'll be the first one to say, hey, we need to move it back to 19.
Commissioner Hill.
Thank you. I don't really have strong feelings one way or the other on this. I do have a couple of comments, though. No one makes an 18-year-old apply and makes them do this. Sometimes we compare it to the draft or to the military. Some of you may remember the draft. These 18-year-olds did not have a choice. They were there. This is not a case where anyone is telling these high school graduates that they have to go and do this. I'm a little bit encouraged, actually, by the numbers of those who did not pass the screenings, because to me that indicates that that process is working, that in fact they are taking into account that many would not be psychologically or physically, emotionally ready for that, and that's what that process is supposed to do. Is it ideal? No, it certainly isn't. But I'm not real sure it's necessarily our place to limit our high school graduates, those that may want to go into law enforcement, tell them that they cannot go that direction because they have not turned 19 yet. So that's kind of my thinking on this.
I do also have a few comments. I do understand the argument that if they are old enough to make the decision to go to the military, and as Commissioner Hill just made, the point that she just made at 18, that is a good reason for them to at least have this opportunity to be employed by the sheriff's office. That is also the reasoning for us to have the 26th Amendment to lower the voting age to 18, was because if they were old enough to fight, then they were old enough to vote for their commander-in-chief. I get it. I also understand and respect the process that Commissioner Beeler referenced last week. We did appoint this merit board. However, the vote for this to pass on merit was 4-3. It was not unanimous. So that gives me pause because almost half of them had pause as well. Do I think an 18-year-old is mature enough after teaching them for 7 years to be in charge of inmates? No, I do not. Is that my decision for those individuals? No, it is not. So I'm really struggling with this one. And I don't know where I will land on it. Commissioner Lundy.
I appreciate everyone's comments. I'm with you. I'm very indifferent. I do believe becoming a law enforcement officer is a calling. And how can I judge that at 18? Because some people grow up and say that's what they want to do. I think my comment is just making sure that if this passes, that we make sure we create an environment of empowerment for the officers. Because I still get calls, people feeling like they are not valued in the sheriff's office. So I just want to say this from a leader to another leader, just really just looking at and really talking to the officers and making sure they're feeling valued. I'm complete. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Lundy. Commissioner Daly.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Chief Purvis. How many years of law experience do you have?
I've got 30 years with the Knox County Sheriff's Office. Prior to that, I was a military policeman. I started with the United States Army when I graduated from high school.
So you're close to 40?
Getting around there.
Okay. Sheriff is 40. That's 80 years of experience. I'll trust 80 years of experience. I have 0 except for the Citizens Academy back in 2009, I believe it was. So if we had 93 more, if we filled the 93 jobs, have you ever started a shadow program to where they go through their 6 weeks training, then they're with an experienced officer there for 6 months to a year? Right now, you can't. I'm sure you can't do that right now. But if we had 93 filled vacancies filled, I think we could do a shadow program.
Yeah. We have a program. Every employee that begins with the Knox County Sheriff's Office and under the merit system rules is under a 1-year probationary period. And during that 1-year probationary period, they're going to be evaluated. They have a 6-month, a 9-month, and an annual evaluation. And during that time, their supervisor is going to monitor their activity and make sure that that individual is going to be able to successful in this career. And that entails not only that that individual can do the job, but that the individual is going to do the job without a detrimental effect to their person. As Commissioner Lundy said, it is a calling. A lot of people are attracted to this line of work that maybe don't belong in this line of work. And the part of the process is the supervisor evaluating and ensuring that they are in the correct line of work, that they can meet the expectations of the department, but also that they're going to be able to meet those expectations without it causing undue effect on them.
Thank you. I appreciate your service. For our junior commissioners, KPD is the Knoxville Police Department. They are under a mayor. The KCSO is the Knoxville Sheriff's Office under the Sheriff Spangler. You're not a department. Well, you're a department under the sheriff, but the KCSO is the sheriff's office. It's not a department.
Yes, sir.
So when you hear someone say sheriff's department, you got to go, no, it's a sheriff's office is what it is. And the KPD is a department under the mayor. The mayor of City of Knoxville appoints the sheriff or the chief of police, and he answers to the chief of, to the mayor.
Yes,
He
sir.
or she.
Yes, sir.
Is there, can I
I
go to
just had a
people who
quick-
haven't spoken yet?
I just had a quick follow. What is KPD's hiring age?
I think they are 21, sir. I'm not 100%
They're older.
sure.
They also have a cadet program, isn't that correct?
Yes, ma'am, they do.
Commissioner Oster?
So I may be the lone commissioner on this, and I'm really okay with that. If I'm hearing that we're 93 officers short, and we possibly wouldn't be looking at 18-year-olds if we had 93 officers, that gives me a lot of concern. I can't wrap my mind around anybody thinking putting an 18-year-old in a pod with career criminals makes sense. To me, it doesn't. Everybody wants to talk about the military, and there again, I've stated I have very deep roots to the military in my family, and I actually spoke to a general that is my great uncle last week. And anybody who's been in the military understands that the hierarchy and the training and the oversight that you have. And if we're 93 officers short in a pod, I don't think that our kids are getting the staff that they need that they're going to be getting in the military. Now, maybe I'm just simplifying it too much, and I'm the one with the problem. I don't necessarily think that's the case. I do want to ask you, Chief Purvis, because I don't see Sheriff Spangler in here. Is he? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you back there. Let me ask you, and I might not normally ask this to you if we weren't talking about this, but have you guys reached out to officers and seasoned officers in other states that are having problems, meaning that their cities and their states don't treat them well, and they're getting out of law enforcement because of the environment that they're in, to possibly bring them to Knox County?
Sure, we have.
Okay.
We've done all that. And there again, I understand your concern as well, but here is my intention as a sheriff who runs the sheriff's office, is I've got to find any and every way that I can safely make sure that we have the employees that we need. Not every 18-year-old obviously is going to pass the psychological or even make it through the vetting process before the psychological even comes into play. We just want to be able to pull from another pool if we can, because this is one good reason. If an 18-year-old who is a shining star in everything that they do, and we don't hire them, Blount County, Sevier County, Anderson County will hire them.
I understand that, and I'm
I
not.
don't want to lose people like that, and
Right.
I want to give them an opportunity as well. Again, I understand your position. I know the gentleman that come up here and spoke from Public Forum, and I heard what he said. I stand in front of this commission. We had to turn our budget in. I've got a request in my budget. I'll give up and keep it at 19 if you all will approve my budget request, and I think that will help keep the people we have and also recruit. So
I'm not going down that road right now, but
well, get ready is all I can say.
that was just the question, and I want to also say that I reached out to Sheriff Spangler to let you know that this is not, I'm trying to hinder you guys, and this is nothing personal. This is just, it's a concern to me, and that's just where I have to land as a commissioner. It's not, I am not questioning your abilities. I'm not questioning Chief Purvis's abilities. I'm not questioning any of you. I don't want it to make it sound like that I am when other commissioners say that they respect you guys. I totally respect you. But that's just a difference of opinion that we're going to have on this.
Okay. Thank you.
So on this, obviously, I won't be supporting this just for those particular reasons. And I mean, I hope some of the commissioners will think about it in that aspect.
Commissioner Frazier.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just as a follow-up question, Chief Purvis, don't run off.
No, you're
The question that I asked about officer-related incidents and corrections, and I got the affirmative. Can you give me some indication of what happened with those incidents? Because it is part of our job to look at risk and liability.
Yes, ma'am. I don't know what incidents that you're referring. You asked if there was incidents, and I said yes, because they happen every day in a correctional environment. It's a very tough job. I'm not trying to minimize that in the least. They deal with a lot of situations almost every single day. It is rare for an officer to come in and go to work and just coast through a day and not have a difficult situation.
Could you walk me through what some of those typical incidents might be for the layperson?
Well, there's a lot of challenges in the correctional environment as you're going through. Of course, you're dealing with individuals who are incarcerated. They're in there at being monitored by our staff. They go through, they do checks to ensure that these individuals are in the appropriate places, doing the appropriate things. Many of these individuals do have psychosis. They do have individual problems that have led them to wind up to be inside the jail. But we have a lot of people that are coming in under the influence of drugs. Many of them are, how can I delicately say this? Inside their person, they have drugs, and we have a lot of individuals that are coming in that OD. We have a lot of individuals who are coming in that are suicidal. A lot of individuals who are coming in the most acute moments of their entire life. So there is no doubt that it is extremely challenging for them. And I would like to say this to what the commissioner said. Just remember, yeah, it is 93 vacancies, but everybody that we get in there, it makes it a safer environment. I want you to be concerned also about the men and women that are doing the job right now, because we need help. We need individuals in there to make it a safer environment. They're doing the job every day, coming in and doing the very best that they possibly can to ensure that they're keeping this community safe by keeping these individuals incarcerated and doing above and beyond what we've ever asked of them to do before. Every person that we get in that contributes to helping to do that job makes that environment safer, and that's our goal, is to make it as safe as we possibly can for every man and woman that is doing that job inside of the correctional facility.
Just furthermore, if I may, I'm really struggling with this as well. Having a 17-year-old and an 18-year-old boys, and also being married to an individual who has actually been a medical director over a facility, who would tell me stories of, as a 40-plus-year-old man at the time, having difficulty navigating through the manipulation of these incarcerated individuals. And then also as a former HR person, I would never suggest or recommend to my leadership staff to make decisions based on staffing issues. And I hate that we're here. I just really do. I hate that we're here. I'm just really struggling with this. Going from 21 to 19, had I been a part of that conversation, I don't know that I would have supported that. And here we are, 19 to 18. And 19 to 18, I realize the mental capacity isn't very different of an individual. And I've actually spoken to 10 teenage boys at my home and had this conversation with them about if this was a career path for you at 18 and you were being recruited in your high school Would it be enticing to you? Would it be a career path possibly that you had not considered? And all of them said no, which was kind of shocking to me because they said, you either know that you want to do this or you don't. And of course, they all agreed with me that 18 to 19, they were still going to be just as immature at 19 as 18. But again, I don't want the discussion that we're having to ever be portrayed or interpreted that we are not supporting you all. Again, I hate that we are here. I really do. So again, I'm still struggling. I appreciate everyone's responsiveness to me over the last week and being willing to answer my questions to the best of their abilities. But I just ask that you please try to understand why some of us are struggling with this.
Any more discussion? Seeing none, the motion on the floor is to approve by Commissioner Daly with a second by Commissioner Lee. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
And I pass.
Let's do a roll call.
Commissioner Durrett.
Pass.
Commissioner Durrett passes. Commissioner Oster. No. Commissioner Oster votes no. Commissioner Ward. Commissioner Ward votes aye. Commissioner Schoonmaker. Aye. Commissioner Schoonmaker votes aye. Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Commissioner Hill votes aye. Commissioner Lee.
Aye.
Commissioner Lee votes aye. Commissioner Beeler.
Aye.
Commissioner Beeler votes aye. Commissioner Daly.
Aye.
Commissioner Daly votes aye. Commissioner J.
Aye.
Commissioner J votes aye. Commissioner Frazier.
Pass.
Commissioner Frazier passes. Commissioner Lundy.
Pass.
Commissioner Lundy passes.
Does the PASH wish to vote? That motion is approved. 7 ayes, 1 no, 3 passes. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Item number 52, Resolution R-23-2-906 is approving the Industrial Development Board of the City of Knoxville to enter into a payment in lieu of tax pilot transaction with Dominion Riverside LLC or an affiliate thereof with respect to certain property located at 1624 Riverside Drive, Knoxville, Tennessee, to be developed into a mixed-use complex, parcel number 095 JB002.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Lundy with a second by Commissioner J. Any discussion? Seeing none, this is a roll call vote.
Commissioner Oster. Commissioner Oster votes aye. Commissioner Ward. Commissioner Ward votes aye. Commissioner Schoonmaker.
Aye.
Commissioner Schoonmaker votes aye. Commissioner Hill. Aye. Commissioner Hill votes aye. Commissioner Lee. Commissioner Lee votes aye. Commissioner Beeler.
Aye.
Commissioner Beeler votes aye. Commissioner Daly.
Aye.
Commissioner Daly votes aye. Commissioner J.
Aye.
Commissioner J votes aye. Commissioner Frazier.
Aye.
Commissioner Frazier votes aye. Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Commissioner Lundy votes aye. Commissioner Durrett.
Aye.
Commissioner Durrett votes aye.
That motion is approved. Okay, we are now to our open topics portion of public forum. We have one person signed up, Calvin Dubrell. If you would please approach the podium, state your name and county of residence for the record, and you have 5 minutes.
Name's Calvin Dubrell. I live here in Knox County. Well, to pick up on what you were previously discussing with the Sheriff's Department, Commissioner Durrett, Commissioner Oster, Commissioner Lundy, Commissioner Frazier, I can tell you from personal experience, being a disabled veteran, United States Army, 12 years of service. I'm now a disabled veteran. Your concerns are very well taken as far as having youngsters in that type of environment because unlike the military, you're not dealing with structure. You're dealing with chaos and confusion from day one and you walk in the door. You have people with alcohol and drug problems. You have people with all kind of behavioral issues on top of people who have been stripped of their freedom, kicking and screaming, trying to find a way out. So I understand the problems as far as staffing that goes, but my God, a young teenager in that type of environment is a recipe for disaster. So on to what I come up here for. Here we are with Black History Month, and we just recently had a situation in Shelby County, Mr. Tyree Nichols beaten to death in the middle of the street by 5 police officers. Unfortunately, this is not something that happens sometimes. It's something that happens quite often when you have people of color dealing with law enforcement. Nobody knows anytime them blue lights get behind them whether or not something simple that's spoken about on the back end can turn into a death sentence. Those same problems that are in Memphis, they are right here. February the 17th, State Representatives Hardaway, State Representative Towns in Shelby County reached out to the Department of Justice to start an investigation about these police officers killing this young man. Unfortunately, I can speak from experience of having this same situation happen to me right here at home. Officers Baldwin, Lane, White, Whitehead, Jones, Turner, and Pickens, they all work within the Knoxville Police Department. Officer Pickens recently had an incident where he beat on his wife. Turner had a situation where he had a canine maul a man in the middle of the street. Officer Baldwin was one of the 4 officers who was responsible for the death of young Mr. Thompson over at Austin East High School. U.S. Code 4, misprision of a felony. Whoever having knowledge of the actual commission of a felony cognizable by the court of the United States conceals and does not come as soon as possible, known the same to some judge or other person in civil military authority under the United States shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 3 years or both. Tennessee Code 39-16-503, tampering with evidence or fabricating evidence. I've had 3 jury trials. During each one of these trials, evidence was altered or deleted from body cams and cruiser cams. We are all in danger as long as these police officers run around here unchecked and they're not being dealt with by the proper authorities. We shouldn't have to go to the Justice Department. That's what Charmaine Allen over there is for. She's supposed to put people on the spot for taking people's lives. That's all I have for right now. Everybody be safe, be careful, because it is really dangerous when you have to worry about losing your life over the smallest thing when it comes to dealing with law enforcement. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That brings us to other business. Ready? Any business to be discussed or come before this body? Seeing yes, no?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a reminder to commissioners and junior commissioners, please make sure you RSVP with the commission office on our graduation dinner, which is on Tuesday, March 28th, 6:30 p.m. at Calhoun's on the River. Is where we will present you your final certificates of completion, and we welcome you and your parents or guardians and your commissioners to join with in a great dinner, and our mayor as well is invited. So,
Thank you. Any more business to come before this board? Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn? Is there a second? I'm going to say that was a second. We are adjourned. To our junior commission.